Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. I, of course, am with Originator Success here with your daily mortgage rate update, the only place on the web where you guys get to join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, broadcasting to you on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're here live, say good morning. Like Mallory Fotiadis and Mike Tebow, good morning, y'all. Mandy Kangas, good morning. Tom Dedmore, great to see you. Mike Brown, Mike Morano, Mark Clark, Amy Blauser. Great to see all of you here. If you're not here live, don't worry. You can always just go back and watch it at your convenience. It's not even a replay. It's just there. It lives on social media. But if you do watch it and you're not here live and you're watching on the replay, then do me a favor. Just put hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. Whether you're here live or on the replay, don't forget to smash that like button, tag an LO friend, share this post in a group. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to click that little thumbs up at the video. Even if you're on your phone, you can click the little thumbs up. It's in the corner. It's like over here somewhere. You can click that and make some comments. It always helps me. Good morning, Mr. Ron Siegel. Great to see you, sir. Today is National Indian Pudding Day. I didn't know that pudding had ethnicity. And Ron is not here live. He is using his AI bot today. Randy Tico, giddy up, sir. Monica Dinkins, good morning. Angela Walters, great to see you. Amy Blauser, hello. Mike said, what is Indian pudding? I have that same question. What is Indian pudding? Before we look it up, that is the question of the day. What is Indian pudding? What is Indian pudding? You know, I take pride in the fact that we have a very inclusive and diverse program here, and we don't care about ethnicity. So you can bring any pudding you want, except for Bill Cosby pudding, because do kind of have a thing against, drugging folks and then taking advantage of them. But other than that, with the pudding and the pudding pops, come on. I know, bad humor, but you guys get it. What is Indian pudding? Does anyone know what Indian pudding is? Allison Foy, good morning. Allison, you know what Indian pudding is? Good morning, Deb Dickinson. Good morning, Rob Stewart. Today is National Indian Pudding Day. We are trying to figure out what the heck is Indian pudding. If someone can answer that one, let us know. What is Indian pudding? I mean, I don't get it. Does it have something to do with India? Randy Leonhardt, good morning. Robert Bashir said Indian pudding is a baked custard with milk, butter, molasses, eggs, spices, and cornmeal. Extra points to Bashir's. Good morning, sir. Thank you for that one. Siegel said it's a New England dessert. I had to look it up. If it's dessert, it's probably for me. Yep, I love me some sugar too, my friend. So you'll never see me turn down sugar. Good morning, Yasmin. Great to see you here. And thank you for being here this morning. So, all right, let's get to the good stuff. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about CPI inflation data. We're going to talk about Doge. And not Dogecoin, but Doge and Elon Musk and Vivek. I may be pronouncing his name wrong. I apologize if I am, being put into position. So let's start off looking at the screens, though. The advice is to go ahead and cautiously float this morning. It's where we're going to start the day. It's where we started the day yesterday. We're going to go through everything, though. So taking a look here, let's go ahead and start with a quick recap of what happened yesterday. Yesterday was a brutal day. I'm going to go ahead and move this up a little bit. And let's see if we can't zoom in on this a little bit. I think I might have to refresh the page to get it to scroll and move, but let's go ahead and do that. Let's refresh it here. Here we go. So looking at yesterday, the reason I have the 5-day chart up, by the way, mortgage-backed securities are up 36 basis points. So that's good. The reason I have the 5-day chart up, so you can see this drop here. So yesterday was a brutal kick in the groin. Thursday, we had improved. Friday, we had done okay. And then Tuesday came. Remember, there was no Monday. Monday, we were a Veterans Day. Thank you, all of our veterans, for your service. So anyway, yesterday, we lost ground early in the morning. It looked like things were leveling out. I thought we might see a bit of a rebound. Instead, we saw continued selling off, put us in a position where we had to go ahead and send out a reprice alert that we were in trouble for that. Now, that put us in a bad position. You take a look at Mortgage News Daily. Let's use this as a reference point. That pushed us from 6.92 to 7.02. I told you we were going to lose about an eighth of a point in rate yesterday, and that's about exactly what we did, which is brutal. I mean, it sucks. However, today rate sheets will be better. And one thing we definitely have to get just used to, I guess, is the fact that volatility is the new norm. This is what we have to get used to seeing for a while. In fact, we have seen reprices better and worse daily for the last 2 weeks. I mean, we've been sending out alerts almost every day. The reason that we got this improvement this morning, though, if we take a look here, and let's put this on 2-day now so we can kind of see it. You could see, let me pull this up a little higher so that we can, there you go. Okay, let me make this just a little bit bigger. There you go. Okay, so taking a look here, you could see we were continuing this loss, and then boom, we got a bounce this morning. Now, we got the bounce because bonds really liked the CPI data. The data actually came in basically right where it was expected. There was really not much there. I mean, it matched the forecasts. We'll go over the actual numbers here. The monthly increase in both the headline CPI and the core, which strips out food and energy, rose in line with economists' forecasts. The headline was up 0.2% for the fourth straight month, while core rose 0.3% for a third consecutive month. As has been the case for some time, housing, shelter costs drove most of the core CPI increase, and we'll kind of hit that one again, right? So, and Ron says today's CPI is misleading again. Today's numbers showing rents up 5%. We all know that's not current. CPI uses over 45% weighing in shelter. Thus, the Fed liked the PCE better. So, yes, and this is a lagging report, is important to recognize. This is lagging data. So this is stuff that has already happened, and now we're kind of catching wind of it. Now, a few things to pay attention to here. This generally what we got this morning is what's called a relief rally. When you see this big jump in mortgage-backed securities, the fact that we are up 36 basis points to start the day. Yesterday, we ended the day. We were at 99.51 on Friday, and then we were at 98.92. So we were down almost 60 basis points yesterday. Big move yesterday, minus 60 basis points. Again, that equated on rate sheets to about an eighth of a point in rate. This morning, of that 60, the lost, we were recovering close to 40. That shows us that yesterday, the expectation amongst traders was that we were going to get inflation data that was worse than what we got. So it came in as expected. Markets were not expecting it to come in as expected. This shows me that they were looking for it to come in higher than what was expected. The fact that we got this nice bounce this morning in mortgage bonds, same thing happening with the 10-year treasury yield. Yesterday, we ended at 4.43. Today, we're at 4.36. It improved, 7 basis points in yield, right? And again, that's a relief rally. That's why we're seeing what we're seeing here. Now, reprice risk today, though, is moderate. We've seen continued volatility the last couple of weeks with lots of alerts. The bigger picture we have to definitely keep an eye on, though. The bigger picture here is when you look at where we're at, you could see that, they're down, they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down, they're up, they're down. We're going up and down, but yet we really are staying very close to the same levels. When it looks at rate sheets, again, the day that you lock can make or break quite a bit. I mean, we were up an eighth of a point yesterday. Today we'll recover that eighth of a point. Same thing with pricing, right? I mean, we could be at, 7.02 up to 7.09, down to 7.05, up to 7.13, down to 6.98, down to 6.92, up to 7.02. We're seeing a lot of jumping around. You want to pick your days, but overall, we've seen a high and a low, and we haven't really bounced out of those, right? We haven't seen rates continuing to move higher. Each time we move higher, we fall back and kind of reset. That's what you want to be keeping an eye on as far as the outlook goes and kind of where things are at here. And that's a good sign, right? That's a good sign. We're not seeing rates continue to move higher, higher, higher. However, if you think rates are going to move significantly lower, you're going to be disappointed. Rates are not going to move much lower than where they're at now. So let's talk a little bit about Doge and all of that. What does Musk Doge stand for? I think Musk has Doge stands for. I think, like, I know they say Department of Government Efficiency, but it's do good every day. It's something like that. It's so Doge. What does anyone know? Put in the comments if you remember what Doge is. It's Doge. Do only good every day. Yeah, so that's what do only good every day is what Doge stands for. Randy, like, and Ron, you guys are putting Department of Government Efficiency, but remember when he did Dogecoin? You got to remember Elon. Doge is that's why you had Dogecoin, and that was the dog. They called it dog coin, but it's Doge. Doge is a crypto product, but again, all of that, the reason that became a thing was because this is one of the things that Elon had a role in or utilizes. The do only good every day is what that was there. Mike said, ask my best friend ChatGPT. That's all it's really good for, doing crappy research, but I found that it gives me wrong answers. So, but anyway, that's what Doge stands for. But let's talk about Doge and the Department of Government Efficiency. Let's get into that a little bit, because the thing that I wanted to put there, and let me see, I have it right here, right? So Doge, why this could be a good thing. Let's go ahead and let me open up a new instance of Bloomberg, duplicate, and then also let me see if I can't fit this to fit into my little. Snap this in there. Okay. So taking a look here, let's go ahead and go to Bloomberg. And why is Musk a good thing? So for those of you that aren't familiar with it, part of Trump's process here, he has now named Vivek. Am I pronouncing that correctly, or is that pronounced wrong? I'm probably like butchering it, and I'm sorry. But let's see. Yeah, we do the markets daily. It should be on here, right? So he has pegged Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy to lead a new Department of Government Efficiency to cut bureaucracy. It's a temporary gig. He has put a date of July 2026. That is the 250th anniversary of the United States, the 250th birthday of the United States. Now, what this Doge department is supposed to be doing is basically giving Trump ideas on where we can cut government space, or waste rather. You may remember that Musk at one of Trump's rallies was saying that we have a $6 trillion budget and that he could cut $2 trillion out of it. Now, let's face it, the guy walked into Twitter, got rid of 80% of the people. He did have to hire some of them back, which that means you're doing it right, because if you overcut and then come back, right? But Twitter runs and seems to do just fine, and he got rid of a lot of the waste. Now, the problem with this is a lot of that money, right? First of all, the thing we have to recognize on this is that if they cut this government, fat, you are going to see some people that are going to lose jobs. And yes, there's a negative there. Don't get me wrong. The hope is that these people that lose government jobs can step in and get private sector jobs and bring more to the economy that way. We know, like even that last jobs report, if we had taken the government jobs that were created out of that report, we would have actually been in negative for job creations. The government is tremendously bloated. So we are spending $6 trillion. Now, the thing is, we don't support ourselves. We don't bring in enough taxes to pay the government. So we borrow. And that was a lot of what has driven up the costs of yields right now, right? So, the idea that we are borrowing, we're going to have to borrow all this extra money. Now, when you look at government efficiencies, if they were to cut the government, you're going to cut labor, you're also going to cut other spending, like what would be materials, right? Let's say that they can cut, let's say that they give, again, they're not an actual government agency. They're going to be outside the federal government, and they're basically in an advisor role. And a lot of that has to do with if Elon were to be a government employee, then he would have to divest certain business interests and things like that, right? So, yeah, and Ron, you've got a good point. Ron points out, when we look at shutdowns, we look at essential workers versus non-essential. Why do we have non-essential workers? And I mean, in some of that, I would disagree and say, well, you could argue they've closed the parks and park rangers are non-essential workers, but they are essential. We need parks, we need federal parks, we need federal park rangers and things like that, right? But the idea here is that this department is going to provide a lot of insight into what we could do to cut down on that. Some people agree or disagree. There's talk of, wiping out the Department of Education or dramatically maybe reducing it. There's tremendous amounts of money spent on that. And the argument is, what are we getting for that money? Now, from a pure economist point of view, though, let's just talk about this from an economist's point of view, if you will. All right. So I'm not looking at does the Department of Education, can we cut it and what's essential? But looking at it from an economist's point of view, if they were to go in and cut maybe just 10% of the government spending right now, let's take that $6 trillion, let's put that over 10 years. That's going to be $60 trillion, right? Let's say that there's that it continues to go up. Let's say that in 10 years, it's $100 trillion. And let's say that they can cut 10% of that. That's $10 trillion, right? That they would be cutting out. If they could only cut 10%, if we only get that kind of an increase, well, that is a huge, huge blow to the economy. It's like dropping into a negative GDP, if I remember correctly. So that would actually be a huge blow to the economy. But here's the alternate side, right? If you have this because what you're doing is you're not putting all that money into the economy. It's, those people aren't spending. However, if you look at it, where if you take that money out, but what if you're cutting taxes, right? And this is where the argument about all of Trump's tax cuts and how all this stuff drives inflation. Well, if you're cutting, then it doesn't drive inflation, because those tax cuts, those people are then spending back into the economy, and it's replacing the money that wasn't spent because of the government cutting. What that also does is less government spending means less borrowing. The borrowing is what's driving up the yields on our mortgage-backed securities and on 10-year treasuries and all of that. So when you look at this, all of this is actually could be very good for mortgage rates. And it's a long-term thing. It's not going to be an overnight change. But economists, traders, they're all factoring this into all the stuff that they're regurgitating out there right now. So we want to definitely keep an eye on this and be aware of where we stand on all of this, because there's a lot that are going on here, right? So that's basically kind of where we're at with this, is that if we see all of this kind of talk helps offset the tariff talk, it helps offset the borrowing talk. All of this is in play, and that's partly why we see so much volatility right now. This will settle out as we get into January, as things start to come into play. At least I hope they do. But the good news is, I can't emphasize enough, we are not seeing consistent rate increases, right? When we look at where we kind of keep going here, we've capped out the highest we've been this time around the sun is 7.09 or I'm sorry, 7.13, right? So around 7 1/8, let's call it even 7 1/4. We're not up in the eights. We're not seeing rates continue to go up. They go up, they drop down. They go up, they drop down. We're not going to be much better than this. This is what we're going to continue to get used to for the next couple of months. You're going to see rates that are bopping up and down, up and down, up and down. Grab your right opportunities. That's why longer term, you have less of a incentive to lock loans that are closing in December or January, because as long as we don't see any signs of consistent rate increases like we did in October, remember October, we started in the low sixes, ended in the low sevens. We saw consistent rate increases as we go back through October. 6.62, 6.63, 6.82, I'm sorry, 6.68, then 6.82, then 6.85, then 6.92. Notice it never dropped back down. It just kept going up until it hit this level that we're at now, where we've kind of been floating. So it's kind of like if you took that bobber, you pulled it underwater, you got it down to this level, which is where we were, and then it floated back up, back up, back up, and now it's hit the surface, and it's just kind of bobbing there, just like this. And that's really what we've done with rates. Rates were pulled down. They were down here, but it's just like a bobber underwater. It's got air in it. It wants to shoot up. Once you let go, that thing went up, 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 up. Once it hit the surface, it pops out, and then it falls back and hits the water, and it just kind of bobs. And that's what we're doing, right? That's what we're doing. Is bobbing. So again, I know I see all the guys you guys are talking about Six Sigma in government. Jack Welch used to say we cut the bottom 10% of every department and get people working harder. Guys, I will tell you that at Originator Success, my whole company, by the way, is called Hammer Solutions, right? That's the parent company. It owns a brand, Originator Success. It's Originator Success isn't actually the company. It's just the brand. But I will tell you that what we do for the number of people that we serve, the number of subscribers, we have over 1,500 subscribers on different products between text alerts, our elite membership, our Ignite memberships. What we do and what we serve, I do with a staff that is a portion of what other companies, even other companies, vendors in the mortgage space do. And I compensate my people really well. But at the same point, we are amazingly efficient. In fact, when I get consultations from outside consultants, they're amazed at what we do to run the company. You can do it. I'm very, very focused. Now, of course, something as big as the government, I couldn't be anywhere near as efficient as I am for a very small company that's, that what we do serving in the mortgage space. But for a bigger thing, it would be a bigger thing. But the reality is, yes. So my point here, as we see all this Doge talk and you're seeing all the stuff coming through on the headlines, this could be good for mortgage rates. It supports the idea of the tax cuts. It supports the idea that things will not get more expensive because of the tariffs. It supports the idea that it'll keep yields in place and that we'll have less borrowing, so we won't need to drive up the cost of borrowing and all of that. So keep all of that in mind. We got some good stuff there. Otherwise, the advice remains the same. Today may be a good day to lock up some of those near-term loans. We want to see where the day goes. You want to go ahead and check out being a member of our text alerts. We send out an AM alert. We send out a PM alert. So we'll give you an alert on, if things move during the day, like right now, we are up 31 basis points on mortgage-backed securities. If the day were to move, right? If the day were to move, we're going to go ahead and let you know. So sign up for our text alerts, ratetextalerts.com. And also check us out at originatorssuccess.com. Find out how we help you get loans from Google and social media. Although I talk about rates and pricing, like tomorrow I leave for Consolidated Coaching's workshop in Austin, Texas. So I'll be coming in from the airport tomorrow. I'll be in Atlanta by the time I do the show. And Friday and Saturday, though, we are doing a whole, just Scott Groves and Consolidated Coaching hosting one of their live events, and I'll be speaking there. And we'll be digging deep on online branding, generating reviews, using reviews, social proof, staying in touch with your past clients, all that stuff. So we've got that as well. So, all right, my friends, you guys have a fantastic day. I will see you tomorrow. Like I said, I'll be coming from the Atlanta airport. I've gotten used to this really good internet, but they're usually okay in the lounge. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Have a great one. Bye-bye.